Hey, hello, howdy, how you doing? Deep within the great Gabe Newell archives lies an open-world zombie survival game. I know, it's a very small niche, there's only like 5 games that would fit that criteria, but SurrounDead is my new favorite. Truth be told, I've owned SurrounDead for 2 years now, and have racked up a cumulative total of 77 minutes played in those 2 years. But you know what? Those 77 minutes are sacred, and no one can take them away from me. It's with that hour and 17 minutes of game knowledge that I've decided to embark on an epic quest with the goal of 100%ing the game in a single life. That's right, SurrounDead has a permadeath mode, and I know how to delete Steam achievements because I worked at Blizzard for 7. There's 21 achievements to complete, and most of them revolve around grinding the game. Fun stuff, you know, like killing 5,000 zombies with a single character, killing 10 bosses, they have those, killing 100 human survivors, they have those, take note Zomboid, and even a redacted one that I'm not going to spoil just yet. What I'm trying to say is, it's all stuff that I enjoy doing in survival games anyway, so when you throw in the added difficulty of trying to do it all with a single character, it's kinda hard for me to not dive into. During this playthrough, I'm going to attempt to show off as much of the game as possible because it's got an insane amount of content for only $12. Especially when I remind you all that this was created by a solo developer. One person made this game. And I don't want to hear any bitching and moaning about the polygraphics. I know it's a cheap asset pack, but you know what? If that's the biggest criticism of this game, I'd say it's a damn good game. Final note, I do have a sponsored segment that takes place at around the 5-minute mark, so you've been warned. First things first, I need to wipe my achievements. Perfect. Now, several of these can actually be obtained just by completing the tutorial, but we're not going to do that because we're not cowards. Instead, all achievements must be earned within the same save game of a single character's life. If I die, I'm wiping all of these and starting over. Anyway, launching the game while still in early access lands me the first achievement of the playthrough, simply titled, Play During Early Access. Meet Hugh Janus, a 25-year-old Reddit mod. He's gonna be our little hero of the story. Obviously, there's a ton of customization here, and what's that? Male and female? What about Type 1 and Type 2? Since Hugh is holding more than 40k Reddit karma, I figured he should look the part. Equipped with a unibrow, patchy beard, and reverse blackface. All he's missing now is a fedora, and he'll be walking around saying "Milady" in no time. Look, he could also be another one of those SoundCloud rappers who keeps ODing on Vicodin and Percocet. Upon loading into the game, I land my second achievement, Enter the Unknown. You get this for simply starting a playthrough. Oh look, an albino deer. Nature is healing. So, first things first. Survival. This is a survival game after all, so food, water, and shelter come first. Down the road a ways, I stumbled upon some abandoned warehouses. This is crucial for determining location because you don't have a GPS tracker to show you where you are in the map. At least right now. I think there might be one I can get later on. So until then, the best way to keep track of your location is to find a new POI. Every time you stumble across something new, it gets updated and marked on your map. So, given I just found some abandoned warehouses, I can open my map and find the new logo, informing me of my exact location. More on that later though, because it's time to take out my first zombie of the playthrough. Get pwned, noob. Inside the abandoned houses, I managed to loot a few items such as a beanie, so I can cosplay as Tim Pool's Wet Dream. Aside from that, I killed a sprinter and looted a gun off its body. It's empty right now, but I'm sure I'll have no problem finding bullets later on. Cue some more fighting, and I got a taste of just how deadly sprinters can be. Imagine trying to take on a group of these methed out fucks. Anyway, with some basic supplies, I began making my way over to the first objective, the Valley Safe Zone, after killing a rabbit. Okay. Second attempt. Alright, amazing start. Love being one hit away from death. If I understand this though, all of the acidic zombies, those red smoking dudes, they explode on death and give radiation damage. There we go. Round 3, let's run it back. Kobe? Okay, another rough start, but at least I got the achievement for using a medical item. Oh my god. Okay, I need a bit of a break. I'll be right back. In the meantime, enjoy these soothing sounds. Boom is a 4-player co-op game where you and your friends team up to save Earth from being overrun by rogue AI. Quick, ChatGPT, how do I stop rogue AI? Oh my god, it's a genius. The game itself is a bit of a blend between like a shoot 'em up and beat 'em up style where you have unlimited ammo but can swap and mix and match between guns and melee weapons, with some heroes being better with melee and vice versa. There's also all these crazy bullet abilities that you can pick up, like poison, ice, explosion, and hover shot that can help spice up your gameplay just a bit more. It's also lane-based, like that Warlords Flash game that we all played and forgot about until right now. You're welcome. Within each of the 9 unique levels, you can collect scrap that's then used to unlock universal upgrades for your characters. So if the game does feel a bit too difficult, there's progression built in to help. Dying too much? Boost your health, or just get good, I don't know. Unlike other lane-based combat games, Boom has this tag team ability specifically designed for co-op play, where when 2 or more characters are next to each other, you'll see this little marker pop up beneath them. If one of the characters activates their special ability, it'll trigger both abilities from the 2 characters without expending the second, essentially giving you free abilities and bonuses just for staying next to your friends. I will say, the soundtrack does go pretty hard as well. As someone who typically plays games with music off, even I kept it on while grabbing shots for this segment. Actually, I'm even using it for the ad instead of the default ad music number 5. Boom is available on PC, PS5, and Xbox as of August 12th. Actually a pretty solid accomplishment considering this is Guy Lee Games' first ever published game. To check it out yourself, all you need to do is click the link down in the description or in the pinned comment, and it'll bring you directly to the Steam page. So what are you waiting for? Go fuck up some AI and save the world. Okay, this is the run, I promise. After spawning back in, I looted a water bottle and some key cards off of a campsite and the dead before making my way over to a set of warehouses. The only issue here is that I spawned like halfway across the map from where I need to get to. At said warehouses, I found an axe and a generator. While I can use the axe now, obviously the generator isn't a big concern on day 1, so I made a mental note of where it was and continued on my way. Remember everyone, food and water are temporary. Drip is forever. Luck was definitely on my side with this run, considering I found a sick-ass ambulance just down the road. It's almost out of fuel and needs some repairs, but at least it starts. On top of that, I even managed to find a gas station and refuel the ambulance. Talk about a massive win. As the sun was setting that evening, I came across my first friendly scavenger. While I wasn't able to interact with them, I did watch him suicide charge a group of radiated zombies before another appeared alongside me. Milady. While waiting out my first night, I took a peek at the skills menu and spent my first point on health regen. Yes, that is a tractor pulling a tank. You'd be surprised. Heading into day 2, I got my day started at a nearby diner, looting it for a few days worth of food before continuing on my way. My main focus right now is to reach that survivor camp, so I wasn't all that concerned when I saw a group of scavengers fighting over a nearby POI. After repairing the ambulance, I opted to park it on the dirt road and continue the journey on foot, reaching the camp later that morning. This safe zone is fucking dope. There's friendly NPCs roaming around, crafting and cooking stations available for use, and even traders selling specific goods like medical supplies, survival gear, and food. And if I'm being logical, if there's a friendly camp like this, that means there's gotta be enemy camps to raid. After selling some extra crap, I found myself at around $250, which might seem like a decent amount until you're told that one 9mm bullet is $20. So I can effectively buy 12 bullets with this money. So, next step. Time to get some money. The first place I immediately thought back to was that POI with everyone fighting for it. Turns out, it's a mall. And there's a boss zombie here. Paul Dart. Wonder if he's a mall cop. Thankfully, he's stuck in a car, so my plan was to let the bandit weaken him before swooping in to clean up the fight, landing me the Life Taker achievement. And you know what? Best case scenario right here. I get an achievement, everyone dies, and I walk away with a shit ton of gear. Just look at this haul. Next step, sell the extra junk and trade in my Hello Kitty styled backpack for a true hunter pack, bringing me from 20 slots to 47. It also gave me the chance to purify 8 bottles of water, and I can already feel the snowball starting to happen. Oh, and I spent 2 more points unlocking a combat roll ability, so I'm sure that'll come in handy as well. There's still some shit to do at the mall, like continue looting it, so I made my way back over to pick up where I left off. Okay, this next part is my bad. I didn't notice my OBS was paused while I used a rag to heal up and earned the Fixed a Boo Boo achievement, so here's the proof. 11:05 a.m. achievement earned, same day, 11:04 a.m. Okay, back to the mall. Inside, I managed to find a compass, which adds the directional indicator at the top of the screen for you. Outside of that, cue another near-death experience where I came within 13% of my life before dipping out to recover. Shout out health regen. That evening, once it got too dark, I made my way back to camp to turn in for the night. To kick off day 3, I figured it'd be a good time to get some hunting in. I've got a few canned goods in the ambulance, but I'd like to save those for emergencies. Especially if the surrounding fields are littered with wildlife. Okay, maybe not bears, but you get the point. The meat you get from each deer appears to be random though. I've got 4 pieces and a deer head from the first, and only 1 piece of meat from the second. Either way, that's 5 pieces of 30 hunger meat, and I can sell the head for $20. Alright, back to the mall. After spending a few minutes looting the place though, I was met with the stunning realization that, well, the bosses respawn. Honestly, that's probably a good thing, considering I know where to go to now farm out an achievement once I have a bit more gear. At this point, I wanted to get into base building and see what that had to offer. Nothing crazy, but just something to get a little storage area set up so that I'd have something aside from the ambulance. So, I need metal scrap, wood logs, and nails, which require metal scrap to make, so more metal scrap. And what better way to do that than by watching another group of bandits fight Paul Dart again? Dropping the final blow on the boss landed me the Tough Guy achievement for killing my first boss of the playthrough. But honestly, the real hype came from all the loot I walked away with. The military vest alone may drop the space I have to loot, but it does provide 11% protections. At worst, I could just turn around and sell it for close to $100. Heading into day 4, I sold the MP5, extra AR, and the special vest, bringing me up to over $1,100. With some of that money, I purchased a fishing pole and another axe so that I could feel confident with destroying my first one on trees. Alright, I got the pole. It's time to go partake in every middle-aged dad's favorite pastime. Fishing is admittedly a bit underwhelming. You just kinda sit here and wait for the bobber to jiggle or the notification to appear on the right side of your screen, at which point you click again and boom, you caught a fish, and in the process earned the Catch a Fish achievement. With that out of the way though, it's time to go find some more metal scrap. These can be found on wrecked vehicles along the side of the road, or looted off of zombies, or just loot in general, but the best and most efficient way, at least to me, was to just loot the abandoned and destroyed cars on the side of the road. While fighting some zombies though, I did end up breaking a limb, which, while it is a prerequisite for an achievement, the actual achievement requires you to break your leg by falling. Now thankfully, I had a splint in the ambulance and I was back to normal within seconds. While looting a nearby building, I also happened across a GPS, and let me tell you, this has to be one of your biggest priorities early on. Not only does it tell you which way you're facing, but it also informs you of all these infestation zones. Think of them like infestations from State of Decay, but more rudimentary. They come in different difficulties, but the premise is the same for all. Destroy a corpse pile within the infestation zone, ideally with a Molotov, which really sucks for me because I've been selling all the booze to the alcoholics at the safe zone for days now. Oh, well never mind then. We're good to go, we got this. On top of that, I also found another fishing pole, a tent, and a weapons locker. But I'll have to come back for that, seeing as my ambulance is already at capacity. Alright, got the excess gear sold. Time to go chop some trees and find more scrap metal so I can actually start building a damn base. Throw in a mini bandit killing montage and you've got yourself a damn good day. While exploring some more, I came across Patient Zero's building, which immediately started depleting my radiation dial in the bottom left. I have a mask somewhere, but something tells me I'm gonna need a higher quality one to survive out there. Alright, I'm gonna need to learn how to get a dog in this game. Anyway, here's the haul so far. This should be good enough to get me started. That night, I used a bunch of material I looted in order to craft a construction, weapons, and general crafting workbench. Heading into my 5th day, I drove right past a military airdrop before stopping to check it out. I must have missed the notification for it, but assuming you have a GPS, the airdrop seems to just be marked on your map, which I really like. Talk about a crazy fucking haul though. More guns, a hunting scope, ammo, a gas can, and above all else, a hazmat grade respirator offering 97% protection against radiation equipped with a 100% filter. Jackpot. Turns out there's 2 more airdrops within the vicinity, a medical one and a food drop. Those will have to wait though, considering my entire inventory is currently workbenches. Speaking of which, placing the construction workbench landed me the construction worker achievement for placing down a buildable. The weapons workbench is pretty self-explanatory. You can make ammo, basic armor, bombs, molotovs, and other small grade combat items that you might need. Construction workbenches add a bit more versatility, allowing you to build normal furniture and decorations, as well as fencing, gates, storage crates, and piles, guard towers, and some other really cool stuff that I'll have to explore more later on. And then the crafting workbench. We're already familiar with that since I've been using that one at the safe camp. You can make the other benches as well as a campfire and some basic medical supplies with this. Using some logs, rope, and cloth, I crafted and placed a base marker which marks your base on the in-game map, and just like that, we've got the beginnings of a makeshift home. To build out a sustainable base though, I'll need logs, metal, and cloth. A shit ton of cloth. Really, I need rope, but to make rope you need 5 cloth per 1 rope, and most recipes, like log walls, require a lot of rope to make. While we're on the knowledge dump though, I want to touch on skills. So in SurrounDead, at the time of recording, there are 10 skills in the game. Those being fitness, strength, toughness, sneaking, first aid, marksmanship, reloading, thief, fishing, and scavenging. Each have their own XP pools and are leveled separately. A lot of these are self-explanatory, like toughness increases damage resistance, fitness is tied directly to your stamina consumption, the higher your fishing level, the better the fish you catch and the speed that you catch them. All pretty standard things. If you're like me and play a shit ton of Project Zomboid, the famed skill books also make an appearance here with a very similar style. Reading the book provides a 3 times blanket XP boost to that specific skill for the remainder of the level. So typically you want to be reading those at the very beginning of a level, because if you're 3 XP away and you read a book, you'll lose that boost as soon as you level up. Aside from that, you can also find these pamphlets that give you a blanket 250% XP boost to a very specific skill. What I'm trying to say is hoard these books and pamphlets whenever you come across them. Oh, and if all hope is lost, there is a trader at the starter camp who sells books that you can run over to. Funny enough, while I was at the camp, I ran into the wandering trader who was holding onto a legendary sniper rifle and a better respirator, which I ended up buying over the rifle. Okay, admittedly, these airdrops are a bit nutty. This is the supplies one, and it's endgame gear. Like, look at this backpack. Are you kidding me? I could have just bought the rifle. And his loot already re-rolled. God damn it. Okay, I've got the outline for a base, got some solid gear. I think it's time to try out an infestation and rack up some kills. Alright. A few close calls, but overall, that was a ton of fun. And on top of all the zombie loot, check out the haul from destroying one of the altars. So, that wasn't the main altar. There's an actual body mass pile infestation to destroy. Okay, hold on, I'll be back with more Molotovs. So, Probably should have seen this coming, but you can't damage the primary infestation until you remove all of the secondary ones first, which means I just wasted a Molotov. I'm gonna go rip up some more clothing. You know what? I'm fully sold. SurrounDead Zombie Game of the Year. I was only able to destroy the secondary infestation pieces before being forced to call it on day 6, so the goal will be to wrap up the first primary infestation in the morning. But first things first, it's time to knock out another super easy achievement. Breaking a leg from a fall. I know I hinted at this a few days ago, but all I had to do for this was run over to that tall-ass apartment building and nosedive out of the front of it. Easy enough. Alright, back to the infestation to finish what I started. Turns out the best method to deal with the hordes is simply hopping on top of a wrecked car and headshotting them. After looting the primary infestation though, I walked outside only to be greeted with the zombified remains of John Candy. No idea what he's doing here. He's supposed to be up north fighting bears and stuff, but okay. Now obviously he's the big boss and he hits hard as shit. So instead of trying to fight him in the open, I found the best way to deal with him was to yeet a Molotov, then drive through it and kite him around, all the while spam healing myself. When he was under a third of his health though, I hopped out and mag dumped the man, bringing me my first large boss kill of the playthrough. Sadly, it's officially time to say goodbye to the famed cowboy hat. Anyway, with the area mostly cleared out, I was able to push back and pull off that good old tried and true Skyrim lockpicking, walking away with an SVD to hopefully replace the hunting rifle. The only real downside from the infestation is that I've been neglecting base building to the point of needing to sell weapons and gear just to have enough space in my backpacks to complete normal daily tasks. So, after selling off a ton of shit, I headed back to camp and crafted 2 separate 50-slot crates to store my extra guns in. After waking up on day 8, I got to work spending all of my looted scrap metal on some new fencing, only to run out of material halfway through. God, this looks like an off-brand Skid Row. Instead of doing anything somewhat productive, I decided to head back to the mall and try out the shotgun on the boss. And I gotta say, this thing fucks. It just melts the mini-bosses. The only problem now is, well, the bandits shot up the ambulance. Thankfully, I'd looted the repair kit from that infestation yesterday, but it still sucks to have to waste it so soon. It wasn't all bad, though. I got to hunt 3 bears on the way back to pick up a repair kit, so there's some food to last. Well, I'm already out here. Might as well loot all the clothing in the mall and turn it into cloth so I can make some rope. By the time I'd finished looting them all, I'd managed to rake in over 50 cloth, a second tent, and a pickaxe. Not sure what it'll be used for yet, but okay. All in all, a pretty solid haul. But it doesn't end there, because on top of the mall rooftop lies a downed helicopter. And next to that downed helicopter lies a high-value loot crate. Opening that crate revealed a legendary Survivor rifle. So what next? Well, I've got a few level 0 and level 1 keycards that are used for hidden bunkers all throughout the map. So, the plan is to head out in search of them. Worst case, I want to see how I fare against another infestation. But for now, bunkers seem like a cool new challenge. According to a guide created by KKND, there should be one nearby. There it is. Thanks to the last infestation and the big boss, I've got night vision and have all my guns equipped with suppressors. Let the show begin. No one tell John Wick. Using the keycard level 0 that I'd purchased from the black market, I'm able to unlock the door, earning me the Here Comes the Colonel achievement for gaining access to a secure area. It looks like I'll need more keycards though, since they're consumed with each individual door. Good to know. Holy fucking jackpot. Okay, so shutting the door requires a keycard to reopen it, so note to self, keep all vault doors open from now on. So I know the black market dealer sells the level 0 keycards, and I've got 3 level 1 keycards to use, but allegedly there are high value keycards out there somewhere, just waiting for me to find them. First place to look? How about that Patient Zero home? If it's radioactive and a POI, there's gotta be something worth grabbing there. Here's what I'm working with. Got the military respirator that I've been holding onto for days now, the military helmet with night vision, the Benelli M4, and the M4 CQB, both with suppressors, and then a backup hunting rifle, also with a suppressor. Shout out Hotbar Med Supplies. Alright, not an amazing haul, actually a bit underwhelming. That being said, there's a weapons locker here that I couldn't lockpick yet because I don't have the skill for it. Soon though, we'll get there. Until then, we keep farming airdrops. And bosses. Paul Blart's soft shitty body keeps coming back for more, and I'm happy to oblige. So Google wasn't all that much help on where to find some of the higher tier loot keycards, but using basic game logic, I'd say the best chance is to find them buried around infestation zones, so that's where I'm headed. After hanging out with some friendly scavs, of course. Haven't seen these guys in a while, but I like the camp setup. As I pulled up to the next infestation, I noticed a downed, rusted out plane just sitting outside the city limits, so I took a few minutes to loot everything around it and walked away with some more ammo. Just past that downed plane, I found the remains of a military checkpoint with a radio sitting out front. If you interact with the radio, you're told about a rogue splinter cell of soldiers patrolling the area known as coyotes, gunning down civilians without warning. They're heavily armed, more so than the bandits around the mall, and extremely dangerous. Bet. Time to go find this infestation though. That's a new one. Anyone got any ideas for that pun? The hunting rifle with a scope has to be the best weapon in the game. I'll defend that argument to the death. Look how easy this is. I don't know if I'm just getting better at the game, or if it's because the gear is better, or if everything's just more spread out here, but this infestation feels so much easier than the first. Like, even the boss fight, I just drove out of range and gunned him down after killing all the zombies in the area. Still no keycard though, and I'm at that point where I'm having to leave guns and gear behind because I'm physically out of storage. I know that's a me problem because I'm a slut for loot, but I'm still bummed about it. Day 11 saw me hanging out near the telecom tower in an attempt to explore the map some more, only for me to find literally nothing valuable here. You know what I did find though? A group of coyote soldiers who almost got the upper hand on me. Once again, shout out medical hotbar spam. With the soldiers bleeding out in the grass, I pushed inward, finding the vault to a laboratory. I'll need a level 2 keycard to gain access to the interior though, meaning we're, right back to where we started. I'm kinda lost as to where to find any of the higher quality cards though, considering I'm only finding the level 0 and 1s on mini bosses and the black market trader. So my next best option is, once again, infestations. Well, that was the plan, until I drove directly into a bandit assault, leaving my ambulance on fire and at 0 condition. Next to the ambulance, though, there's a sign that says trespassers will be shot on sight. So, I opted to continue up the pathway on foot. At the top of the hill, I spotted a changed astronomer, which is slang for another boss zombie. So what is this place? Well, it's an observatory, and inside said observatory, you can find legendary loot and weapons. With this place looted, I continued on to another infestation, more so with the hopes of finding a repair kit to get the ambulance moving again, while also secretly hoping for a keycard. After an entire night of traveling by foot, I reached the church as the sun rose and got to work clearing out the infestation. Thankfully, there was a van in the parking lot that I was able to hop on top of to fight back in complete safety. To cap off a pretty lackluster infestation, I ran back to the observatory for another run, and oh boy did I walk away with a win. Not one, but 2 level 3 keycards, and 2 legendary guns, the Guardian and the Colonel's Revenge. All of that sounds great, right? But I need level 2 keycards for the lab. At least the hunch was correct though. I just gotta keep raiding high tier areas. Also, no repair kits still, meaning I have to make my way back home on foot. After dropping off some gear, I made my way back to the mall to take on the mini-boss again. Why, you might ask? Oh, I just got a sick-ass legendary rifle, and I want to try it out. Sometimes, it really is just that simple. Killing Paul Dart awards me the Reckoning achievement for killing 10 zombie bosses. Speaking of achievements, there's one I've been neglecting. Well, 2, actually. Animal hunting. Now, I do get progress from shooting these zombified dogs and wolves and stuff, but the easiest way to farm out animal kills has to be from hunting. So I spent the rest of day 12 doing just that, and what better way to go hunting than with a legendary rifle. While hunting did remain the focus on day 13, I recently came across the 100% guide written by Malfor. In said guide, Malfor shows a screenshot of animal spawns in the game, with most of them appearing on the main road. So instead of just walking through the forests and hoping to get lucky, I grabbed a hunting rifle and headed back down the main road, determined to check off the 50 and 200 animal kills achievements. It would take until around midday on day 13 to be granted the Hunter achievement, something that only 2.2% of all players have attained. Now, to do that 4 more times. This continued for the rest of the day before I began running low on 308 rounds. Thankfully, the ambulance is nearby, just guarded by tons of zombies. While unexpected, it did give me an excuse to check off another achievement, Zombie Smasher, which can be earned by killing 500 zombies with a single character. Turns out, no extra ammo there for the hunting rifle, so instead, I opted to head back for the night and figure out a new plan. Now what could that plan possibly be? Well, I sold a bunch of junk that I just had sitting around, including all that meat I'd just been farming from hunting, and then bought over 200 rounds of 308 ammo. To end the night, I turned the rest of my scrap into a vehicle repair kit with the hopes of getting the ambulance back up and running in the morning. After cosplaying as Christy Gnome some more, of course. With the ambulance up and running, I hopped in and moved it a whole 5 feet before hopping back out and pushing up to the observatory for the 3rd time. Speaking of time, talk about a giant fucking waste of it. Back to hunting. On the morning of day 15, I cooked all of the deer meat and sold it back to the traders for some extra XP, and then spent all of my cash on more ammo. Listen, I'm saving it for something you'll see in a little bit. Anyway, by default, I either need to reload the save or wait 1500 seconds for the deer population to respawn after yesterday's massacre. And since I don't feel like relogging, I need to find something to do for the next 25 minutes. I figured what better time than now to head back to the laboratory. So allegedly, according to a few other players, they've been able to loot the laboratory access keycard off of one of the coyote soldiers guarding the place. While I can't relate, it's also highly likely that I simply missed one of the soldiers. So today, the plan is to head back over to the lab and see what I can find. Instead of rushing in like last time though, I chose to park the ambulance on the main road and continue through the forest on foot. God, this sniper is awesome. While the leader didn't have a level 2 keycard needed for the lab, I did still walk away with more keycards and supplies in general. But there's one key takeaway. The coyote soldiers seem to be a great way to come home with more keycards. And according to KKND's map, there's actually a military base in the top left corner of the game, so I set my sights on that and began making my way over. To be honest, I was really hoping to find a whole cluster of coyote soldiers here, but instead, it's more radiated zombies and a new boss. Not that all of this is bad, I just really wanted to keep farming soldiers. Regardless, this place is awesome. It's a level 2 radiation zone, so a step up from the patient 0 area, but considering my respirator is purple, I think I'm safe. After killing the boss and most of the zombies inside the compound, I got to work looting the area, finding several keycards in some of the weapon safes and military crates. Shout out landmines. With the military base looted, I took the long way home as a way to continue my exploration. Lo and behold, there's fucking biomes. Like a whole ass swamp biome just existing in the west. Gonna have to check that out. On my way back, I ended up driving through another town where I was met with a mini boss and another infestation. Naturally, I had to stop and take care of business yet again. Amidst the chaos of destroying altars and smearing zombie brains into the pavement, I do have one request for a survivor. Please implement a swap mechanic in your inventory. Currently, if the inventory is full, you cannot remove an empty mag from your weapon and replace it with a full mag because there's nowhere for the empty mag to go. What I would love to see is the inventory space swap between the mags, so you can hit R to reload, and the two mags will take each other's places instead of requiring an extra space for the empty mag to go temporarily. Anyway, back to the mayhem. All in a day's work. Never forget what you're fighting for. Day 16 was a good time, but now it's back to hunting so I can pack in another achievement. Boasting a 0.5% completion percentage, the Hunter Expert is the rarest achievement in the game. And thanks to Hugh Janus V4, I am now a proud owner of it. Anyway, with the 2 animal achievements taken care of, it's time to get back on my quest of farming out level 2 keycards. Now by this point, I've accumulated 9 level 0 keycards, which should be way more than enough to loot that first bunker I'd hit up a few days ago. Couple things here. 1, there's no boss anymore. I distinctly remember a boss trying to phase through the door my first time around. Weird. And 2, no fucking keycards. I did walk away with a military intel laptop though, so that was my next target. To trigger an event, all you need to do is analyze the laptop, shout out Hunter, and it'll spawn a Coyote Soldier event on the map. Don't worry, it's marked as well. I think at this point, fighting the Coyote Soldiers might be my favorite part of the game. I'm really enjoying the encounters with them so far. Not to mention the loot here is insane. While wrapping up the following morning, I unlocked the Globetrotter achievement for traveling 100 kilometers with one person. For the Americans, that's just over 64 miles. Or double the distance of what an average citizen of West Virginia will walk in their lifetime. Well, I've got 2 more, so let's just run those. The second laptop displays the location of a classified container in the southwest of the map. so I hopped into the ambulance and made my way over. I feel like this is going to be downplayed because of the graphics, but can we all just take a minute to appreciate the variety of POIs on the map? Like a full-on destroyed bridge is dope as shit and changes the vibe from just looting and raiding random houses. Also, boat. This is a hotel, and we're gonna have to come back here at some point because this also looks insanely cool. Up north near the second bridge, I came across a car dealer who offers a variety of vehicles, including a fucking Charger, and now I need 20k. Anyway, check out this subway entrance I found, and my mind immediately goes back to The Last of Us for some reason. This place is incredible though. I really enjoyed exploring it, and the entire time, I couldn't help but think of how badass and intense this would be if I just cranked up the zombie spawns a bit. But maybe that's for another playthrough. Pushing deeper into the subway system, I found a barrel lighting up a somewhat hidden doorway. That doorway is actually a fast travel option that'll take you halfway across the map, back near my base camp, which I thought was really cool. With that newfound information, I continued on over to the classified container, only to find a tier 3 radiation zone and a ton of zombies waiting for me. Oh, and another unique boss. And a nuke. I just want to touch it. After looting the exterior of the camp, I need another level 2 keycard. I could cry right now. This feels like when SpongeBob's about to enter that restaurant with all the tough people, only to slip on an ice cube. But in this case, the ice cube is a big brolic radiated zombie named Requise. I was wondering if any of these doors would pop up. I've seen several players refer to these POIs as raids or dungeons, and I gotta agree with them. That's exactly what these high-tier endgame POIs feel like. Maybe not raids, per se, but definitely dungeons. Difficult areas that factor in radiation, zombies, highly geared and formidable soldiers, maze-like pathing, especially without a map, it all just feels right. Of course, this journey wouldn't be complete without a clean kick in the dick, courtesy of some bandits. I'll see you again one day, my friend. Time to fight my way tooth and nail back to my half-assed camp. As soon as I made it back, I converted all of my scrap to high quality metal and then turned that into 2 vehicle repair kits. And with that, I took a quick nap in the tent and headed back out on the morning of day 20 to find, repair, and rescue my damaged ambulance. Hello, old friend. Okay, I've got all the keycards, I've got legendary gear, I've got literally everything I could possibly need. Let's go meet Neil deGrasse Tyson. Entering the lab prompts a few things, mainly another achievement, Laboratory XX. Oh, one more and we might be onto something. On top of that, it also pushes us into another quest. We're told to turn on the power to the labs and kill zombies, but that part's optional. I'd love to see someone do this as like a pacifist and just be like, no, we need to save them. Interesting. There's also a scientist note that drops some more lore about what might be buried in the depths of said lab, and now I'm intrigued. Luckily for these fucks, I have an industrial generator sitting back at camp, so I brought that over, and lo and behold, power. Well, never mind. Okay, quick disclaimer, this has nothing to do with a 100% run. There are no additional achievements for getting past these doors. All you need to do is simply open the first level 2 keycard door inside the lab. I even tried saving and reloading to see if that would help with anything, and all that did was spawn in more bandits to attack me. Again, maybe for a different video, I guess. So far, I've managed to knock out 17 of the 21 achievements. 2 will go hand in hand together, at least if I plan it right, and the other 2 are going to require some grinding. One of them is to kill 100 human survivors with one character, and I'm currently at 87, so the best way I could plan to get that over with would be to just keep spamming laptops I'd been looting off the Coyote LTs. When it came to the classified container, originally, I couldn't find it and just assumed it was a bug, but turns out I'm just an idiot and had completely forgotten about the subway system that I just raved about like 5 minutes ago. Now the only problem is to find the entrance and get my ass down there. It's not an entrance, but I did find an empty bunker that I'm sure will be filled out in the future. Oh my god. I found one. Don't Chargers have 4 doors though? Isn't that the whole thing with them? This looks way more like a late 2010s Mustang. Regardless, I'm a slut for cars. The fuck is a blood moon? Like 7 days to die? Blood moon? No time to worry about that right now, though. I found the subway entrance, and to continue glazing this game, I stand by my earlier sentiment that the subway system is fucking dope. I love everything about it. I want more of it. And if you wanted a crazy playthrough, you could ramp up zombie spawns down here and you would have a hell of a time. On another note, from what I can tell, briefcases in the subway are actually the best for key farming. I found 2 briefcases so far, but in both of those, I found several keycards. Also, yes, I 100% recognize that I was in the process of hunting hostile NPCs, but you know what? It was all worth it for this bad boy. With the 2 remaining laptops, I managed to roll 1 bandit camp, which should hopefully be enough. Oh, for God's sake, hold on. There we go. Unfortunately, the wandering trader had to take buckshot to the face, but with the what we've come to achievement on the board, I'm down to 3. Again, 2 will go hand in hand in the end, so really I only have 1 left. And that is to rack up 5,000 zombie kills. Let's check in on how that's going. For reference, I've logged about 25 hours since the initial 80 minutes or so. Realistically, I'm at around 22 hours in this playthrough, so at this rate, I'll have 5,000 kills in about 80 hours. Thankfully, Survivor knew I was about this life and built in the ability to drastically increase zombie spawns without having to start a new playthrough. So here's the plan. Actually, you know what? It'd be better if I just showed you. You know, the game tells you that setting the spawns to 10 will cause massive performance issues, and I should have listened. Thank God for grenades, though. Surely I've made some progress, right? Oh my god. Over the course of the next several real-life hours, I would run into a town, just sit on top of a car, and burn through thousands of rounds of ammo, a ton of grenades that I've been stashing since the first week of the playthrough, and doing anything else that I could think of to help speed this up. And even with cranking up the spawns to max and dropping the frames to sub-zero, it still took like 5 hours to get through. But you know what? I fucking did it. And with that achievement under my belt, I'm now safe to wrap this playthrough up. I've been saying it since the beginning, but the final 2 achievements can go hand in hand. One of them is simply to die, to lose your character. But the other is a hidden, redacted achievement. But I'll let you in on a secret. I know what the fuck it is. In the middle of the road lies a single nuke. It's heavily radiated, but it's there. You can earn the redacted achievement by simply blowing up the nuke. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? A nice little Hiroshima welcome to Hugh Janus V4. Thank you all so much for watching. For a $12 game, this was an incredible experience. Dare I say, this might have been the most fun I've had in a zombie survival game this year. I know this video probably comes off as one giant glaze, but honestly, for a solo dev to create a game with so much to do for only $12 is... You're just not gonna find it that often, if at all. You got various types of zombies, mini-bosses with witty names tied to POIs, big bosses that spawn after events, infestations with varying degrees of difficulty, blood moons, friendly NPCs, hostile NPCs, dungeons, at least 4 different types of keycards to explore endgame POIs with, quests to complete, skills to grind out, a skill tree to spend points on that gives you perks depending on your style of play, like a dozen different unique POIs. The only real slight is the poly art style, which comes down more so to personal preference than anything. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you've got a weekend to kill, instead of spending $20 on a Beavis and Butthead skin in Black Ops, spend half that much money for a game that you're going to sink 30 hours into. With that, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you all. Go call a loved one, and thanks for stopping by.